how are you? And I thought today I would leave the last week or so behind us and we'd do something that would be a bit more inclusive, where the majority of us can carry on without having all this arguing, at least not for another day or so. I love doing videos about the BNP because they have the least creative, insanely dense followers, believe it or not. They're not the creme de la creme of the political debating scene. And all they ever end up doing is producing is the same sort of thing trolls do. It's okay, don't worry, you're not going to win. And one of the reasons they're not going to win, ladies and gentlemen, is I wanted to share with you something about the BNP. What I'm about to present to you is a genuine policy the BNP have said that they intend to implement. Nick Griffin, the current leader, he's the Welsh bloke with the wonky eye who looks like Sloth from the Goonies in a wig, who is the leader of the BNP. And he took over in 1999. One of his main priorities, or one of his main objectives, was to make the BNP into a more moderate nationalist party. They're a moderate nationalist. Who wants moderate nationalists? You can't be a moderate nationalist. That's like being a sort of pacifist football hooligan or a celibate rapist. I reckon I could give a blind monkey with no arms 10 minutes to come up with a better policy, a policy that would be more economically viable, if I just filled his arsehole with ink and got him to shit it out onto a piece of paper. Now, one of the things the BNP had in place was forced repatriation. That is, any British citizens or people living in the country who were of non-native origin, i.e. not white, or any non-native born white people, i.e. Polish plumbers and stuff like that, would be forced to leave. Unfortunately, they couldn't really do that. So Nick Griffin, genius, right, came up with an idea of voluntary repatriation, where people would be offered the chance to go back, and it would be their choice to take it. Now, let me just give you some perspective. The population of Britain is 62,041,708. That's a Eurostat estimate. The amount of immigrants in the country now is 5,408,000. Right. Now, that's just immigrants at the moment. Right. This doesn't include people who are like second, third, or fourth generation. So the figure would actually be higher than this. Right. Now, the policy is this: they would actually be, not only would they be asked or given the opportunity to return to their country of origin, they would be paid a sum of money that they could use to bugger off. The amount of money scrounging welfare, drug addict, lazy, work-shy darkies would be offered is £50,000 each. £50,000 each. What this means is, one of the costs that the BNP has got to have in its budget is £50,000 for any immigrant out of the 5,408,000 who choose to go home. Now, if I was an immigrant or a non-white person in this country and the BNP were in power, I'd be jumping on my fucking flight. Give me a pogo stick, a space hopper, I'll sit on an ant farm, carry me anywhere, right? I'll crawl over broken glass with my nuts hanging out, right? Get me out of here. I'll take the $50,000. So I'm going to assume, and not just the immigrants themselves. I imagine there's going to be a few dodgy fucking British people trying that. I, for one, am planning on getting myself a full-body tattoo of brown skin, and then growing my hair in dreadlocks and calling myself Joaquin, right? If we extrapolate this out, that means the potential and likely sum of money that the BNP will have to pay out of white British taxpayers' money is 270 billion, 400 million pounds, just to get rid of about 6 million people. That's before you try and pay the country. You've got to pay the countries off to 270 billion. Now, that is 4/5 of a year in Iraq in one go. 270 billion. Tobacco taxes in this country only make 9 billion a year. So that's 30 years worth of tobacco tax. Just to get rid of a load of bloody ethnically non-indigenous ethnic minorities, you know, scumbags, fucking terrorists and crack dealers and gangsters and stuff, out of white British people's money, right? The 56,633,708 British people who would be left over, right? Man, woman and child from age 0 to dead, right? Or just before dead, right? That's £4,774.54 each. I don't know about you, I've come to the conclusion that I've been wrong about the BNP. They're racist, but they're not racist against, you know, against non-whites or non-British people. They clearly hate white people. Have you ever heard of a government doing a bigger gesture or a more, you know, talk about affirmative action, talk about doing a favour, giving priority, giving special treatment, and you know, white people can't apply for this, white British people, we've got no choice. Now, knowing this, if I was an immigrant, I would be, let's vote now, get the BNP in now. You know, come on guys, we'll do it. So ladies and gentlemen, if you still needed a reason to not vote for the BNP, 270 billion of them are right here. Nick Griffin, you are an economic spastic. I would rather have UKIP. It's Richard Coughlin 66. Good night, may God be less, and let's all laugh at the BNP.